Good morning, ladies and gentle fellows. Welcome back to the RR Show, the best show on the internet. My name's Andy, and today I am taking you on a wild adventure into r/PettyRevenge. So, my tinkles and tonkles, grab your tea and your popcorn and let's go with our first story. It's a bitch. You can't use a water bottle to reserve gym machine. Okay, bet. I've been going to this gym for about 6 months now, and I always try to avoid going past 7 PM because the vibes are off. However, yesterday I had no choice but to go around 8 PM. To my surprise, the gym was almost empty, maybe because it was Friday. Anyways, I took advantage of the empty gym to do 5 sets of sled pushes. I don't like doing them when the gym is crowded because people walk through the track all the time and that just annoys me. I started doing my 40-meter sled pushes, and after every round I put my water bottle on top of the weights while I sat on the floor next to it to rest. The water bottle, being there, and me being maybe 2 to 3 feet away, is enough to let people know that the sled is currently in use. However, even if you're not sure, seeing the bottle should at least prompt you to look around and see who it belongs to. I was sitting on the floor resting before my last set when a woman walked to the sled and kicked my water bottle, a hydro flask, off of it. I took my headphones off, and the conversation went something like this. Hey, hi, excuse me, that's my water bottle. I'm using the sled at the moment. Trying to be as friendly as I could be. You're not using it, are you? You're sitting on the floor. I'm in between sets, which is why my water bottle's there so people know it's in use. Well, you can't use a water bottle to reserve a machine that you're clearly not using. At this point, I got up and stood between her and the sled. As I said, I was resting between sets. I've not finished my sets yet. But by all means, feel free to wait until I'm finished. I then started pushing the sled one way and then back. When I got to the start position again, she started walking towards the sled, thinking I was going to walk away. Oh, baby, no. Here is where the malicious compliance started. I sat on the sled weights while resting because, as she said, I couldn't use my water bottle to show people it was in use. So I'm just gonna use my body. She got really angry. What are you doing? Resting between sets? I know now I can't reserve the machine with a water bottle, so I'm just gonna sit here and rest. This is unbelievable. How many sets do you have left? I don't know, a few more. I put my headphones back in and started another set. She was still waiting, so I did another set. She was still there. I did another. At this point, my legs felt like jelly and I could barely finish my set. But she was still waiting for the sled. It had been like 15 minutes and I forced myself to keep going out of spite. She looked so angry and was trying to talk to me, but I had my headphones in and was blasting music, completely ignoring her. I ended up doing 12 extra sets until she walked away. I started unloading my weights from the sled when a group of 3 gym bros asked if I was done. I said yes, and that it was all theirs. As I walked away toward the changing room, she saw me and walked towards the sled track just to find the 3 gym bros loading it. I could see the disappointment in her face when she saw them. The best part is that if she had been a decent human being, I would have been done in a minute and she could have had the sled all to herself. Because I only had 1 set left originally. Well guys, don't forget, if you want some unique content that is not on the podcast, head over to our YouTube channel. We do some great stories over there with some fantastic visual elements that are made specifically for video, so we can't really share them on the podcast. We've also done some crazy no-sleep stories. So head over to our channel and check it out. Our next story is from The Breakup 2013. I left a landlord and property management company with a loss because they tried to nickel and dime me. I know the title is bad, but hear me out. This happened a while ago after I relocated to a new city. I signed a new 1-year lease for a townhouse in the downtown core and really enjoyed where I lived. The townhouse was okay, but a little less nice than I anticipated during my showing. Caveat emptor, I suppose. The only other relevant background is the lease said the security deposit would be used for the last month's rent and would not be held as a damage deposit. The year passed with very few problems. The water heater went out in the dead of winter, but I stayed in a hotel for 3 nights and offset that cost against the rent after verbally agreeing with the landlord to do so. At the end of the year, the landlord asked if I wanted to renew. I said yes. I was present with a 1-year extension for the same rent. I signed it and sent it back. I waited about 2 weeks and hadn't received the landlord's signed version back, so I inquired with the management company. They said the landlord was mad because they didn't get rent on the first of the month most of the time. I asked what they were talking about because I always paid on or ahead of time, and they said that while I paid the management company on time, as required by the lease, the management company hadn't got it into the landlord's hands in time. Well, of course, I said that wasn't my problem as per the lease, but the management company requested $100 more per month on the extension to make up for the inconvenience. They said they would send me a new lease reflecting the $100 increase, which they did. I immediately went out and found a condo in a similarly ideal location, which was much nicer and rented for $75 a month less than my existing rent. I went through the background check with them and they sent me the lease to sign. Before signing the new lease, I sent a certified letter to the landlord and the management company of the old location, saying my previous signature on the new lease, which had not yet been countersigned, was revoked and ineffective because of their counteroffer, and no longer capable of acceptance. I then signed the new lease. At that point, I had about 10 days left on the existing lease. The management company and landlord called me freaking out because they wouldn't be able to find a new tenant in time and would lose revenue. Well, I said, not my problem, is it? Hired a moving company, cleaned up the old place, and returned it to them in the same condition I received it. Well, this next one looks fun. From Natty Nix, my mother's an arsehole and I've been collecting dirt on her for years. So my dear old mother has been my personal hell for as long as I can remember. Starting from threatening to hit me with a bottle to trying to break down my door while screaming obscenities at me, to actually hitting me over the head with an umbrella and yelling at me when I cried. I was 11, by the way. She blamed me for my sister's divorce. I was 6 at the time it happened. For years. Left for 3 months without a warning, then acted entitled to my forgiveness when she came back. She's thrown things at me, broke 3 TVs, and called me a myriad of names ranging from mild things like useless waste of space to an actual curse/punishment. The worst thing is she acts like she's the best mum in existence around other people, complimenting me and stuff, and I can't have a support system because no one would believe me when I say she's awful. But I had an ace up my sleeve that I kept for 2 years now. I secretly took videos and audios of every horrible moment and kept them in a safe folder. I had moments like the ones mentioned above, and lots more of her talking shit about neighbors, friends, her own eldest child behind their back. Tonight, I'm packing for uni. By morning, the whole folder will reach multiple people, including my half-siblings, aunts, uncles, neighbors, her besties, etc. Bad luck and worst day, Mother. You always said justice is better served cold. And next one from MJB17. Superior kept stealing my work, so I made him look stupid and crazy. So I do data analysis for financial firms. I'm based in Europe, but I get a new line manager from America. Now, I get on really well with my American colleagues, but this guy is an arsehat. Not sure how he got promoted to his position as he knew nothing about the industry. I frequently had to present to the board and he'd always go through my slides beforehand and ask me about them. He'd then ask purposefully challenging questions about things he'd only just learned from me 5 minutes before the meeting. Really dickish behavior. Once I realized what he was doing, I started being more careful about how much I shared. One time, I managed to plant questions that made him look stupid in front of the board. Following this, he started making me present to him beforehand, and then would take my presentation and deliver it himself to take the credit. This really pissed me off, so I took my petty revenge. For the next meeting, I included a few slides in the PowerPoint that were not connected to the presentation. I was able to quickly skip through these when I was going through it with him so he didn't pick them up. However, once he got into the meeting, the fun began. The board were very surprised to see a picture of a baby kangaroo in the middle of the projected Q3 earnings. He got flustered and blundered through the next few slides. He was just getting back on track, but then the regional analysis appeared on the bare chest of Tom Brady. The board were getting visibly annoyed at this point, and they thought he was joking around. It all settled down until the final slide. It was the standard "any questions?", only the faded picture in the background just happened to be a bikini pic of the CEO's daughter taken from Instagram. Oh, how did that get there? Arsehat quickly made his apologies and left. He came gunning for me, so I had to play ignorant. Oh, I don't know what happened. It's all fine when we went through it before. Must be a hacker. Luckily, Sergeant Shithead bought this excuse, as he knows nothing about anything. The board, however, weren't so forgiving and immediately transferred him to a more junior position. 6 months later, I got promoted to the role he'd vacated. Our next dish of petty revenge is from I Created Anime Loser. I told him he was just like his father, and it hurt him in the worst way. I, 17 female, had a boyfriend, 18, when I was younger. Before we started dating, he told me how much his dad cheating on his mum and getting a divorce really messed him up. His dad cheated on his mum and he hated him. When he started dating, he told me how much he never wanted to be like his dad. I was stupid and believed him. 3 months later, I found him cheating on me with a girl in another school. My friend showed me a pic of them making out. I was confused because it looked photoshopped, or it might have been before we were dating. My friend told me to go to XXX, and I found both of them making out. As any normal person would, I got mad and started crying. I told him that we should break up, and he didn't even care. This really got me mad. As soon as I was about to leave, I told him that he was just like his father, and he surely has his father's DNA. Since he cheated on me, I thought that he lied about his whole dad thing, because in our relationship, he lied about everything. So I thought that he lied about this whole hating his dad thing to ensure me he wouldn't be like his dad and cheat on me. Well, I was wrong. Very wrong. He started crying and started screaming and begging me to forgive him. I quickly left. Even though I wasn't expecting all that, I was happy because he finally realized he was wrong. I've got one more for you guys from Cold Hard Pocket Change. My seat is not meant to be your support. I was originally writing this as a comment for another post, but then I remembered this lovely sub exists and I thought I would share it with all of you. I find myself taking this petty revenge quite frequently, and the whole situation could be avoided if people involved were just slightly more courteous or had respect for those around them. For those who are frequent flyers, this may be an all too familiar situation. Now, this usually happens when the person behind you or someone in their row needs to use the bathroom mid-flight. People have started using the back of my seat as a method to pull themselves up out of their chair as opposed to using their own armrests. They usually pull the seat back 3 or 4 inches due to their leverage and let it go once they're standing. If you're the one in the chair in front of them, this provides you with a sudden unpleasant feeling of your chair unexpectedly rocking back, followed by a quick reversal launching you forward. A real dick move. 95% of the time, the person who does this either does not apologize or is oblivious to their action. Well, cue petty revenge. When this happens to me now, I bide my time, waiting for the person's return. Upon their return, but before they sit, I make sure the button that reclines the seat is fully pressed in. The person generally expects the seat is going to provide that same resistance they used to get out of their seat in the first place. Sorry, friend. that resistance is gone. Hearing the sweet shocked gasp as they fall hard into their seat has been one of the new pleasures I've found in flying.